Okay, so if we just look at the CD, for example, we can see we've got C here and D here, obviously separated by C sharp and D sharp. This is important because now we're going to change the layouts. Now the first thing I assume is that you've actually already downloaded the Eigenharp, my Eigenharp repository from GitHub. I suggest you use a Git client to do that. That way you can just literally synchronize every time we're doing changes. It's a lot easier than just downloading the repository and keep on changing. As you know, obviously inside here you will actually also see, well, that's not what I want to show. You will see basically the creator folder here, which is what we're interested in today. So let's go into creator. Now the layout stuff is basically just a Java application that sits within this tool. It's completely independent. As you'll see, I don't need to be creating fresh layouts, fresh setups to be using create layout. I can simply extend existing layouts. So we're just going to do a simple one here where we're going to change layout 1. Now the first thing I'm just going to do very quickly, just so I have less typing, is just to put the bin directory that's in the layout into the path. And that's just, you could keep on typing bin/create layout, but it gets boring after a while. So I just do that by doing that. Okay, now that basically means I have create layout in my path. And if I do create layout, not sh, apart from the error, forget the error for the moment. But you can see down here actually some help, which basically says here are all the different parameters that you're going to pass. So let's ignore that for the moment, because actually it's a lot easier than that. If I actually look into the file inside the layouts directory, we actually already have some examples. Now these examples are based on the ones that Ferdinand has done. So it's basically showing you the parameters needed to create those. The top one here you can actually see is the original layout. Just a very quick explanation of the parameters. First one is obviously the key group that's affected. This is what second one here, 1, is the row to start the key group is using as an input. So for the key group 1, that's all the way from top to bottom. For a split one, that would be something less. Second one's important. This is actually the length of the whole key group. This is important because by default, the alpha numbers and the pico as well goes from 1 to 23 all the way down to the bottom. And then the second row is called 124. So it's needed to know how long the length of the key group is. Second ones are actually how long you actually want the size of the key group as an output. This is 22 here, means obviously we're only going down to row 22 because the last 2 rows on the alpha are reserved for function keys basically. And then we can obviously see the number of columns, which is 5. Next 2 are very interesting, but we'll go into in a moment. Basically, they select the mode. Then these next 2, the next parameter after these mode keys is the number of semitones in the course offset. And then the number of notes between each note. So here we're going 1 semitone every time we go down. And then finally, these 2 would say whether or not you wish the keys. First one is reverse mode. So do I want the keyboard to go from, as we standard, low to high? Or if I want it in reverse mode, then I can switch it and have the low keys down the bottom of that one. Similarly, this one is for columns. So again, we go from low to high that way. In reverse mode, it will go from high to low here. Next parameter is almost always going to be true. It basically just says that we're in this linear mode, that basically where all the numbers, actually the input key group, have everything coming in on one course. So it's key 1 to key 1 to 120, or key 1 to 118 on a pico. And then finally, the last one is whether or not you want to create a physical mapping, which we're not interested in today. Okay, so let's do something. Obviously, we're in standard layout to start with. So let's actually switch to horizontal layout. Now what you can actually see here is important is these two middle numbers in here go 0, 1, which means that going to, if it's 1, 0, then it means it goes into vertical mode, as in we go down the keyboard first. The horizontal mode means we can go across the thing when there's 0, 1. That's the way the courses are laid out. So basically, every row becomes a course in a horizontal layout. And then we're also saying that we wish to actually reverse, so we're going to have the low keys down at the bottom. That's basically what this font does. So we'll just cut and paste that and just exit it. And you'll see a whole load of bell counter go psst. Okay, that's not working right because... Stop. Let's do it again. I'm not quite sure why, but sometimes it fails the first time. Oh, there's my cat. Okay, so now we've actually switched. Now, as I said, I can't actually show you down the bottom because you can't see the keyboard, but you can actually see here now that things are going across. And you can see obviously that we've also reversed as well. Now this is so-called 4N, which means that actually we have 4 notes going across, 1, 2, and then we've got obviously 4 is here, which means that this note and this note are the same, they're repeated. Now that's actually becomes very useful because it basically means that you actually can reuse them. I'm not going to show too much on this layout because I actually prefer the reverse one, and I'm not very used to the chords here. But essentially, if we think about it, I think if I remember, oh, you can't see that. I'll show you that better in the reverse mode in a minute. Okay, so again, so we can obviously play with that and we can see how all the notes fall. Right. And I'll keep on missing over there. Let's see, but never mind. Oh, so now we can try other things. But as I say, it's very, very quick to just switch between the two. So for example, we can actually now try, we could try the different horizontal ones, or we can try, for example, the Wiki one, which is based more on a harmonic principle. Now this has a slight bug in the lights, which you can just see the lights finish it. This is because the problem in Icon D actually, where it actually believes that there's only 22 rows in the course for the lights, but actually that's obviously not true because in this mode what we do is we've got alternate notes, so actually we have 44 notes in the course, but never mind. But here we can see. And then it's sharp. Actually, it tends to be better playing. Now you'll notice, obviously, it's very easy to tell from the lights actually where everything's laid out. We can obviously see in terms of the piano, all the white keys are clear except for the sonic, and then obviously all the black keys are in red. So that's quite easy. But again, you notice all I'm doing is just typing in one command and then we're done. We can carry on. Now I'll show you one that I know is slightly better. So we can actually do reversed columns. There are... okay. Let's show you the... Sorry, I grabbed it wrong. So now what we're going to do is show you the reverse mode, which is the one I use. The problem I have with the other horizontal layout is basically that you have to play it with your top at the right and then down here, so you end up with this kind of relationship. And because I'm a beginner, I can't see what the left hand is playing because the right hand is obscuring it. So this is why I've reversed it. You can see down here, we can see that here it's the same horizontal layout, 0, 1, and then we actually got, we're saying that we're not going to reverse the vertical axis, but we are going to reverse the horizontal axis here. This essentially creates a similar pattern. So you see everything happens. Now this is one that I know a little bit better. So now what we've got is we are going down still here. we're going down. But we're going across, we're going up in notes this way. It may seem a little illogical, but it does mean that I can actually now keep the top hand up here, and the left hand at the top. And then the notes sequence is very straightforward. It's he says, getting it wrong, I think. Oh no, sorry, I've got it wrong. Let's do it again. Pattern is very straightforward, basically. You're always taking things in two pairs, so it's one down here and then across, always to my left. It changes slightly on rows, so if we go down one here, so you see the C is 2 down, then 1 across. But on the next row down, it's actually 1, then we go across immediately to the left and do 2, similarly here. And then this one changes back to the first form, which is actually 1 and then 2 down. And it's the same. Now, B is slightly different, because actually that is a diagonal. So that's actually slightly different, but easy enough to remember. The other good thing about the thing, so usually you play, as you can see over on this left-hand side, for the C and for the E, because that gets the keying right. But it's also very easy to invert. So if I take the D here, anywhere where you've gone 2 down, you literally just, it's very easy to invert. Similarly, if you are using where it's 2 down and then 1 across, it's very easy. So you can see the chords are relatively straightforward. The reason for that partially is because, of course, the thing's so compact. And now here comes the best bit. Okay, so now we've got a range here of pretty low to a massive range. And then once you've finished playing with all of that, you simply just calculate that. The last example here, by the way, shows you splits, which is obviously useful for other layouts, but I won't bother with that. So here we just take the original layout, bang, and that's it, and then we're back to our familiar. So as you can see, all you're doing is cutting and pasting from the creator. You get to all the different layouts, and it takes you 2 minutes to have a go. So please, have a go. Enjoy.